This is K.M. Weiland, and you're listening to the 95th episode of the Wordplay Podcast. While outlining your novel, Map Your Way to Success this week, I've been going through my old outline notebooks from Behold the Dawn and Dreamers, and looking for fun, personal illustrations to add to the instructions and suggestions in the book. It's been a fun stroll down memory lane to read through my old journals, which date back to 2004. Behold's journals, in particular, have been a blast. I'd forgotten how much the story had changed from conception to publication. My original conception of the story included an altogether different cast, different plot twists, and a dramatically different ending. Without question, the story improved over the course of its evolution, but it's been fascinating to go back and be reminded of how certain ideas came to be in the first place. Plus, I love flipping all my inky pages. They always make me feel inexpressibly writerly. Use a question to create an unforgettable opening chapter. The latest post in the video series on my blog simplifies the trick of hooking a reader at the beginning of a story by showing how Elizabeth Gaskell piqued curiosity in Lizzie Lee. You can watch the video on my blog at wordplay-kmweiland, that's weiland.blogspot.com. New videos are posted every Wednesday. Meanwhile, enjoy this week's podcast, Understanding and Accepting the Reasons You Write. Why do you write? This is a favorite question in writing forums, polls, and interviews. Sooner or later, every writer has to answer this question, either for himself or some curious second party. Simple question that it is, it can be surprisingly difficult to answer. And even after we've answered it, we sometimes find ourselves analyzing and justifying our answers. Does this question have a right answer? Off the top of my head, I jotted a list of every answer I could think of. We might write to make a mark or leave a legacy, to stroke our egos, to proselytize others to a religious, political, etc. viewpoint, to connect with others, to explore and experience life, to feed an aesthetic appreciation, to earn money, to satisfy a compulsion, i.e. we can't not write, to create, to gain catharsis, to express ourselves. Are any of these answers good reasons to write? Are all of them good answers? In a word, yes. As I read through the list, perhaps you nodded at most of the answers. Perhaps you rejected a few. Ego-stroking and making money are sometimes the victims of upturned noses. And perhaps you particularly identified with one or two. But I'm willing to bet almost every single one of those answers is true of you and every other author, to one extent or another. If you've ever struggled to justify your writing to the rest of the world, or even to yourself, you might find it helpful to study the above list and organize the reasons in the order that best reflects your own motivations. Perhaps exploring and experiencing life is your number one reason, while leaving a legacy is at the bottom. Identifying your reasons for writing can not only help you justify their value, it can also help you focus your writing so you can best fulfill those reasons. On the other hand, you may have read the list and nodded your head at the pertinence of the reasons without feeling as if any one of them summed up your reasons for writing. Maybe your reason isn't in that list. Maybe your reasons change from story to story or even day to day. Maybe you know you have a reason, but you can't put it into words. Maybe you don't care what the reason is. Is that okay too? In another word, definitely. The always inspiring Jeff Vandermeer made a spot-on observation in Book Life. Why you do something doesn't necessarily affect the quality of what you do. The animating impulse behind our need to write often eludes us. In a sense, we not only make up stories, we make up stories about why we write. At the end of the day, what's important isn't so much understanding the reason you write, as it is accepting that you don't always need an explicit reason. You're a writer. You write. And that is enough. Thank you for listening to the Wordplay Podcast. To read a transcript of this episode, visit me on the web at wordplay-kmweiland, that's weiland.blogspot.com, and be sure to listen again next week.